It surprised me to know that there is no universal identification number for a medical device that's implanted in you, for example. Post-market surveillance of the safety and effectiveness of medical devices is actually, I think, fascinating from a statistical standpoint because of all the challenges associated with it, but also quite important in terms of we're seeing more and more people implanted with these things. We're seeing combination devices that are both sort of durable products with drugs interacted with. There are smart devices that are sending information, making corrections, like an implant in your knee that might make a correction. So how do we actually look at whether or not these devices are effective once they're released on the market, if they're safe? You could think of sort of the total hip replacements, metal on metal. So metal hips were a real problem, and it was first noted in the UK, and in the US we have no database to identify those types of problems. The Food and Drug Administration has no way, and even if we look at claims data, we have no way to track devices. Okay. So you get implanted with a particular drug-eluting stent, I have no idea what stent it is if I look at claims data. And so I've been working with the Food and Drug Administration to look at methodology that relates to particular aspects of those types of devices. And so like a surgical procedure, the operator or the person who implants the device is going to be important in terms in both of the effectiveness of that device and potentially the safety of that device. So you've got that aspect. You can't identify the particular device, so there's a sort of an ascertainment issue. Then there are interactions of the patients with the actual device.
And you know, it seems stunning that we don't have a way to track devices. Is there any national policy conversation at the FDA to change that?
The FDA has implemented, I think it started in this, I don't know when the deadline is, but they did finally get that law passed, which was a fight. It's got to be universal, so hips that are implanted in the US we have to understand those relative to the hips that are implanted in Australia, for example, and how do they're marketed under different things. Sometimes components could be mixed and matched. And so the FDA is really trying to get on that.
I guess we have tens and tens of thousands of people walking around with devices in them that will never know exactly what those devices are. So much of the benefit of this, I guess, we'll be looking into the future.
Exactly.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.